Hi, and welcome back. Here is the May and June 2026 cabin update. We left you on the last video with the 10 by 12 slab just being poured, and as they say in the construction industry, we went vertical. The last couple of months doesn't seem like a lot was done, but visually a lot was done. I don't know how else to put it. With that said, filming was kind of on the back burner because you're so busy trying to get things done, you forget to film. But you can see we got the roof rafters up, the fascia board up, the OSB is up, that's the plywood on the walls, and wow, it's pretty awesome. Then again, we got those amazing nights. This one wasn't as clear as they usually are, but still clear enough where you could almost reach out and just grab those stars. It's fascinating out there how clear it can really be. Of course, you don't really see it when you're sitting there looking at the sky, but when you play back the video, you can see the Earth's rotation to the stars. I think it's always fascinating on the video to actually see that. On the left is the 10 by 12 outbuilding. You can see we got the window going in. Oh, it's so much fun. We have a window now. It's kind of crazy. And here's the before and the after of putting in the, earthquake straps. You know, we are in California on the rafter beams inside. Here's another before. And the after of getting those straps put on. The next task at hand was to seal up all the little teeny tiny cracks. Here is the before. You can see the footer, the studs, and you can see a learning curve here with the Ryobi battery operated caulking gun to seal around the concrete to the footer and then up and around each stud. This will keep the dust from blowing in and also any little teeny tiny critters that might want to come in. So basically now it's going to be hermetically sealed, as Johnny Carson would say. From the perimeter of the property, you can see we really did a good job of keeping those roof lines for the main cabin and the two outbuildings almost exactly the same to keep that continuity of that desert shed roof look. I'm so pleased how that came out. Over in the 8 by 10, we got the sink installed. So we have a running water and a sink to do sink things in, which is very exciting. And then the next step was to vapor wrap on top of the OSB or plywood. This is primarily used to keep out moisture, bugs, dust, all kinds of stuff, and it's kind of cool. And on top of that, we put on our T111, which is like a rough cut plywood, and here I am starting to paint it, and it has the little seams, so you got to cut that in first, and blah 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 blah. Boy, that took a lot of time and a lot of paint, but it came out really cool. So the color choices were kind of weird. I took the color sample chart, threw it on the ground, threw sand on it to try to match the exact sand color. However, when it went on, it came out a lot darker. But that's okay. It looks pretty nice, don't you think? I really needed to tone down those bright white doors, so I was planning on putting up security doors, so I went and bought some. But I didn't want white or black, so I bought some rattle cans that matched the trim and spray painted them. And boy, did that come out nice and tone down those bright white doors, don't you think? I caught this dustnado, as we call them, on security footage when I wasn't at the property that blew through. Wow, was that something? And now we'll move into the animals that were captured when we weren't there on video. There's some dog random running around. And Mom, I know you were gonna love this. Look at the bunny. I think there's a lot of bunnies on this property. However, never seen one live. It's only like the security camera footage, and they always seem to appear right dead center in the middle of the camera, like they know it's there, and they okay, here I am, take a look at me. But what's really cool is I think it's coming up here is we now can say there's officially 2 rabbits. It's not just one. There's actually 2. Crazy, right? Wow. I have to say, after a long day of painting and hammering and doing things, there's nothing like relaxing around the fire pit. And Mom, thanks so much for that color changing stuff you put in the fire. It's awesome. And again, those night skies is just amazing. It's amazing to see the video of how much the earth rotates too. It's just crazy. So I took a little side trip to go visit friends in Kingman and went through Amboy. That's the Amboy crater. I did a whole video about that. You have to go back and search. Pretty cool. And it's amazing the progress they're having rebuilding Roy's. This has been in many, many movies. And it's got a motel next to it. And they're working on all those rooms to bring it back to life. I think that's pretty incredible. Here's the thumbnail of that video. Look back on my list. And I actually went inside the Amboy crater and hiked in there. It was really cool. 15 months ago, I took these photos. These were the very first photos of the property after we purchased it. It's hard to imagine it looked like that back then. You know, there was no roof, no windows, no door. So now it's time for a little TLC to the main cabin. You may ask why it took so long to get to the main cabin. For the longest time, it looked like that. We had all the windows and doors bolted up. That way we could store things there safely. So we had to build the other 2 outbuildings to put everything that was inside the main cabin to lock it up secure. So now it's time. Ripping off all this siding, which almost killed me. I really liked it, wanted to keep it, but it was so old it shrunk. There was no way even to replane it. There was no way to keep it. And it's sad. But the guys I got out there helping me are amazing. And he's taking the old siding. He is going to replane it. And he's going to build a little shed for his motorcycle. And I told him he could have the old siding as long as I get a picture to hang up in the main cabin that shows all that wood was repurposed. So there we go. The OSB went on, the Pink Panther vapor wrap went on, the windows went in. I have to say, I'm so happy and grateful for these guys. Look at that. That's got the T1 on it. It hasn't been painted yet. But, you know, you can't do it all, right? So I get a call from the guys out there and they said, hey, do you want us to paint it too? And I said, go ahead. For a few extra bucks, it's worth it. So they sprayed it, which I'm fine with, and check it out. It came out so good. It was like such a surprise the first time to see it done and go out there. So you remember the back of the cabin had a window on the side. This is the sunny side. So I haven't put the window directly in the center. So when you open the front door, you look straight out that window, which is pretty cool. And lo and behold, I couldn't believe it. When the sun set, it was directly in that window. And this picture is the sunset through that window. I mean, you couldn't have planned it better. I know it may seem strange to have only that one small window in the back, but you got to remember, that's where the sun sets on it. That sun blasts in and heat. You don't want a lot of windows to keep the thing as cool as possible during the summer. So that's the reason for that. But anyway, here's some pictures. Here's a picture at night. And I know Mom's dying to see the inside. So here we go, Mom. This is inside. It's so bright now with windows. It's crazy. I also installed some temporary mini blinds so we can shut those windows. And this is my favorite window. This is the view of Homestead Mountain. Oh my God, that's my favorite. Anyhow, we got to tone down that white door, so I had to buy a black security door and about 6 cans of rattle paint and match that trim and get that painted and put on, and boom. Isn't that amazing? It looks so good. Look at our little courtyard going on. It's hard to believe the main cabin was like that for so long, and now it all looks like this. Okay, Mom, I know you want to see inside the other building. So this is the 10 by 12. It got the little kitchenette set up that runs off the EcoFlow battery, a fridge, microwave, toaster oven, and the bed. And then this is the bathroom. Well, there's our honey bucket and the sink and a window that's opaque so no one can like stare in at you. And then this is the driveway coming up off of the road to the property, and you're reaching the gate. Look at that mountain in the background. Wasn't that great? And this is an image inside looking out the gate over the 10 acres of BLM land. And this is the corner of our 5.5 acres, or 5 acres, and the 2.5, total of 7.5 acres from the corner of the fence lines. This is a view from the acreage looking into that little courtyard that we're creating there, and I think it's pretty awesome. Here's a panning view of what it looks like now at the end of June. I hope you like this May-June update. I mean, the trash pile there in the corner, I gotta get to the dump. Just want to say special thanks to all my family, friends, especially Mother Augustine, for all the contributions towards this project. Otherwise, we could have never gotten to where we are. So enjoy this last sunset, and as always, love you, Mom.